Well, hello, friends, and thank you for joining me. Today is a real special treat. I'm going to be interviewing a woman that I began working with back in 2009. Our first session together was on the telephone, and it absolutely blew my mind. Um, and the things that she said would happen happened. The revelation she said would unfold did. I've written about that in my book, Opening to Greater Realities. But the good news was that the telephone conversation led to a ton of on site, face to face work. Fortunately, she lives, at least for me, I was up in the Colorado mountains and she was down in the Denver area. And so getting together and having sessions together would really work. So here's my magical friend and person I haven't seen in a long time, Selene. She's going to tell us about her work. We will be conversational. So she's going to tell us about her work. We'll have conversations. Um, Use examples from my experiences, and I'm sure countless others from the work she's done. But this is all about you getting to know her, and I hope wanting to do work with her because I assure you it is incredible deep work. So Celine, welcome to Spirit Partners, and feel like you are certainly one of my spirit partners, at least here in the flesh. And what a delight to be with you again.
It's been a while, Bill. It's great to see you. And I think often about the work that we did and your willingness to just plunge in. You're, it's magnificent. It's so much about the willingness of the person.
Well, I was willing. I
Yes.
was willing, and there was always a feeling, regardless of who I was working with, that this is going to benefit me. And
Mhm.
what what I evoked this sort of Spadyism, people could call it, which was no one will die. It's like it's nothing terrible is going to happen. I'm going to go for it. And that first session that we had together on the phone
Yeah.
um, was indeed mind-boggling as well as soul-boggling. And it's like this is just incredible work. Okay. I mean, I felt no, I was blown out of the water at the time, but it's like this is the deep stuff I want to do.
Mhm.
So I thank you.
You're most welcome. Yeah, it was delightful. It is delightful. Yes. So let me tell you something about my background, how I got there.
Yeah, that would be surely good to know.
That would be good to know. In the 90s, I began with studying with multiple women around soul clearing processes. And it was completely new to me. I didn't know what those words were, but it seems to be all the places that the soul would get confused or lost or fragmented across time. And
Uh-huh.
that's where I began. And it kept progressing and progressing, and the list of what the soul um, situations were would become more complex. There would be a growing list of those, and that went on and on. And then I met actually the medical assistance program, which is Paralandra working with nature spirits. And it is began to focus on wholeness. And this is the way that nature likes to work with humans for us to evolve through this last 40, 50 years to where we're going in the next 20, 30, 40 years. How nature wants to work with humans. So this became part of the self-healing and the expansion process.
Well, let me take a step back, okay, and go back to the first few sentences that in the work you were doing with these women, talking about sort of obstacles, aberrations that the soul encounters through time
Yes.
means you somehow, or you learned through them, okay, how to probe through time and sense
Yes.
those things, which to me, who was still living very much on this 3D plane, was like, this is unbelievable. How can you know these things? How can you perceive these things? So obviously, you had a perceptive capacity that got, let's call it, nurtured, supported, activated, etc., in the work you were doing with these women. But I'm going to just say you probably didn't start at zero.
No, no, no.
Okay,
And
so
then,
tell us about that.
well, yeah, you didn't start at zero. Once you are connected, you begin to access your old records.
Okay, now is that what's called the Akashic records?
That would be the Akashic records,
Okay,
or that would be the memories. And so then you can pull all of your lifetimes through. And you can pull that information through. And the tricky thing at that point is to apply it to now, which is a different thing. You know, it's one thing to have the information, it's another thing to apply it in
yes,
this
indeed.
time. And for the person that I am now, or the client who is there with me now. So there's that application. But you pull that through. I did probably 15 years of hypnotherapy with people. And during
Okay,
that time, I began to be able to feel, oh, this is more of an ancestral memory. This is more of a past life. Here, then this past life, much of it is flowing and active, and then there's an absolute block, a wall, a confusion, and the confusion is in a mental realm or an emotional realm, and then off we go.
wow. Well, to those of us who haven't cultivated those capacities yet, okay, or activated them yet,
Yeah.
that seems like an extraordinary ability,
Mhm.
okay, to be able to do the probing, et cetera, et cetera. If I can say, if I can talk about that opening experience I had with you just just briefly, okay.
Yes.
My sister informed me about you. She had learned who you were, et cetera, and apparently had had a session with you, and said, call her up and arrange an appointment. So I called you up, and hi, I'm Bill Spady, Shah's brother, and you said, okay, fine, I'll work with you, et cetera. All I need to know is your name and your birthday. And so I gave you my birthday.
And your permission.
And well, my permission to do the work.
Mhm.
So I call you up on the appointed day and time, etc. Hi, this is Bill. And you interpret the beginning of the conversation a little differently than I do, but within seconds, minutes, etc., you said to me, now about that Hathor soul of yours. Okay, I remember the words. And it's like, how does she know I have this companion soul that is a Hathor. How does she know this? Okay. Well, things went on from there. Okay. I won't get into all of the details, but it was like, oh my goodness, how does she know this? What kinds of gifts does she have? And then the ability to work with it and do things, etc., and open up to other possibilities,
Mhm.
um, all flowed from there. So you might want to tell me now and our audience, how did you come to know that? What did you do in your process? Assuming that somebody else, some new person comes to you and says, I want you, to help me with this, or whatever. Where do you go? What do you dial into?
When you've given me permission to look into your records, I go in and ask the questions, what does Bill Spady need today? How many souls are in the body? What's going on? What are the issues? What remains? And it's just laid out, not in a computer printout, but just these are the components that he's ready to address now. And off we went.
Wow. Well,
So it
what?
comes from inside of you.
Oh dear. All right. Okay. Yes. Okay. So it is, no, it is my stuff. It is my information. Okay. But your capacity is to
to
connect
go
with that.
to go into your records, ask the right questions.
That's right. Based on what you see,
Wait, yes,
etc. Okay. Ask the right questions and then
it's revealed.
dialogue from there.
It's revealed. Yeah. And then when I'm in session with you, I bring up the topics and off we go.
All right.
Because at that point, we're co-creating together. What
Even
you're what
yes,
you're aware of,
at the soul level, we're co-creating together, but at my 3D conscious mind level, I haven't got a clue what's going on.
but you are aware and you're learning. You're observing and you recognize this soul. This is my Hathor. We've had conversations.
Yes.
And then there's a companion there with you to explore it and to deepen all of that for you and to make it more clear, to to have it be a easier communication.
Can you give us an example of working with a client where the revelation of you saw of the blockage, you saw the nature of the thing, that the revelation itself was, as it were, therapeutic for them, and I mean it's like, oh my gosh, that's true, and then their life starts to really shift and change?
Well, I'll have to really dig through my memory banks to find something. Um, I think I'll use something. Nothing particularly is in mind right now. I know for myself in my daily meditations that I come across something and I begin to apply love and light to it. I explore it in a compassionate way and I watch it unwind. And sometimes there's information for myself.
Okay.
Sometimes it's, I know now that I need to put a boundary there in this relationship. I know that this can shift. Sometimes I have gone inside and said, I have this sticky situation
Okay.
And what is the solution? There was one of those sticky situations. I was told to sit in silence for 3 days. And so
Okay.
I did. And so
And
I did.
yes.
Just put away everything else, sat in silence as much as possible, and one small step was revealed, and a second small step was revealed, and a third. And then when the voice said, remarry your ex-husband, I had a fit. I
Ah, okay.
think there were some screaming and carrying on that went on.
Oh
Like,
dear.
it's like the insight comes, and then the human gets to decide what they're going to do with it.
Hmm.
But that one was you should remarry. Well, that took me 2 or 3 months to adjust to that. It was
Yeah.
the right solution. It was
Wow.
it was the right solution.
My goodness. Okay.
But it took 3 days of
Initially getting to the place where the revelation came through,
yes,
where the message, as it were, came through.
yes, yes, where
Wow.
the truth could be revealed.
Hmm.
Because it was not a truth that me as a human wanted to hear. So
Uh-huh.
yes, yes.
Well,
And that was a solution based on um, multiple levels of situation, family, child,
sure.
finances, you know,
Yeah.
completions of karma, completions of past lives, all more levels than I knew. And there all was. That's the difference when I'm working on myself. When I'm working with a client, it's their information. And so I can just bring that and it moves much quicker than 3 days of sitting here until you.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm guessing that um, many, I'll say, of your clients are people who come with what they call a problem, and they feel like they're stuck.
Mm-hmm.
So the place of entry is to identify what the stuckness, what that issue is about, etc., and clear it energetically. Okay, I'm going to say at the soul level, which then allows the physical being to respond differently.
Exactly. Exactly. And that is exactly how we worked for many, many, many years. But right now, in
Yes,
2025,
yes.
we are in a different world.
Well,
And
tell us about that.
we are in a world of great transition. And in this transition time, um, many of the tools and the ways that we used to work are are too slow, or they're too cumbersome. Now, and many of them don't work at all. The things that used to work, my toolbox of things that are in the closet here, they are not effective anymore. And it has been this shift of the last 3, 4, 5 years of moving into, the new energetic technologies and the star energies. And it is completely fascinating. So it's actually becoming much simpler. One of the first things that I do with people is to help them identify through their records, what is your divine nature?
Now, is that the divine nature different from their purpose for coming here in this lifetime to manifest something? Is the nature, is the divine nature of Bill Spady and his sister two different natures?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. You and your sister are have different natures.
All
And
right.
there is a quality, a divine, a God quality that you have been expressing and exploring for many, many lifetimes.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
actually seeing that there are three lineages. There are three lineages. And all of those lineages are tied. So you, with your divine nature, chooses the bloodline to express the learning of this current lifetime. You access the star line, your kind of ET or your star lineages, which are very similar to the genetic bloodline. So
Yes.
and then there's the true you, that which is infinite and eternal. And the infinite you chooses star lines sometimes for help, bloodline sometimes for help, and then here you are living this lifetime.
Well, the one thing that I have come to learn that I absolutely wouldn't have believed, I'm going to say even 5 years ago.
Yep.
Okay. But I'm being um, given this information in all kinds of different situations, et cetera, is that when we go to quote an afterlife and are deciding, okay, what we want to do to come down, we choose and select and work with higher beings, et cetera, to define what it is I want to sort of be, manifest, and grow and develop and encounter in this next lifetime.
Yes.
Okay? That can vary for a given soul again and again in different ways. I mean, every time they come back to somewhere, it's to manifest something different about what what that see that's where I'm asking now what that essence is, because every person out there listening to this interview has got an essence that informs or shapes, okay, let's put it that way,
Mm-hmm.
the nature of what they're going to experience and manifest this time. But that may be different than what they did last time.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. So there is an essence core,
Mm-hmm.
as it were. Okay.
Yes.
And everything else is a quote, a variation off of that, a manifestation to be more of what that core is in each and every quote lifetime. Because we've chosen a bloodline and we've chosen a star. My assumption has been the star part has been a definer of this who Bill Spady is, this core you're talking about. Okay. I mean, I had an experience in the desert when I was totally out, and I suddenly leaped to my feet and say, I'm a Pleiadian. I'm a Pleiadian. It is like, where did that come from? Okay. Um, and therefore, which of the three souls, etc., um, is that? But the Pleiadian, I'm assuming, is sort of part of a definer of the core, a shaper of the core. Maybe we don't need to get into this so deeply, but I mean I think
I think that
everybody out there is trying to figure out who am I?
exactly.
Okay?
Exactly.
I mean, who, when you get into this, like really, because you discover there's so much more than you ever anticipated or thought about. So, who am I really, and which of all of these agendas am I really here to manifest?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And I think that the different star lines and even the bloodline stories, they play into what's happening now. So, um, and there are points where we've made agreements that there's been this stuck place in the bloodline, and we will help heal this. We'll heal this in the bloodline. And it's separate than the eternal self. We just go, we do that assistance in order to have the flow of information and light. It's a service, it's a gift because we know them. We've been in many lifetimes with this genetic line. And so we are shifting that. That happens sometimes. And then when that's clear, more information, more support comes for the next book I'm going to write, the next project, the what's happening in the 3D. And then as that evolves, then we pull into the star lineage for knowledge, for connection, for direction. And so it is this back and forth between these three. And then sometimes you're pulling straight through the past lives for this needs to be cleared up. This needs to be resolved. This could be even more divinely aligned with source.
Uh-huh.
Because I think that's where we're going, is pure alignment with source, as pure as I can be at this time in this body. And what's different in the last, we were talking about it before, about being in the body with our divine nature. But right now, in 2025, we're really being invited and challenged to be compassion, gratitude, joy, peace, full-heartedness in our bodies, walking around. And I'm feeling like that is what is going to make the shifts on our planet, make the shifts in our collective thinking. And that right now, with all these transitions, hold the light, be as heartful as we can, ground it into our bellies, our lower dantian, down to our feet on a good day. Looked like you wanted to say something, Bill.
No, it's you. I have a million things I want to say, and I want you to continue. I guess if there was anything that I want to say right now is one of the things I'm learning more and more about is that each of us as individual souls, as it were, is a fractal of source.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And so as you describe this, I'm thinking, well, we're already connected to source in a way, but there may be things in the manifestation of the fractal, that is, what the soul is actually manifesting and doing now, that may be a bit off kilter, okay, from source. And because when you say aligning, when we get aligned with source, it means getting those distortions, those
Exactly.
blockages, those wounds,
Exactly.
etc., get them cleared up, cleared out, etc. So
Cleared
we
up
can,
and aligned with flow.
yeah,
Exactly. Exactly. And
yes,
so many of us are so fractured have been so fractured, which is a little different. It's a different language than fractals.
Oh, yes, indeed. Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Yes, I'm
The
saying this.
fractal is really a kind of the fraction, the minuscule fraction embodiment there.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. And there's a way that we are literally pulling all of these little bits and pieces back into the body to be whole, to be whole. And they were saying that I was hearing this incredible woman the other day saying our consciousness, our sovereignty, our wholeness has a lot to do with how many fractures there are over all the lifetimes.
Oh, I
And,
believe that. Yes.
and now, from this place of I'm choosing to be whole, I'm pulling these fractures back in. There was one day when we were doing our pillar of light work. We were deep in, we had created a sacred space, and we started breathing in the fractures, the
Hmm.
lost parts of ourselves, and we were breathing them in and welcoming them, not just into the body, the physical body, but the entire field. We were
Yes.
breathing that in, and someone said it is like fireflies coming home. Hundreds and hundreds of fireflies. And that's absolutely correct, because this was the first time that there had been a sacred space built that's kind of
Hmm.
planetary, universal, cosmic level space, temple, sacred space, so that all of those could come. The cosmic level fractures, the universal level fractures, the planetary, the personality, the ego, and that it was finally safe. And this person experienced it like fireflies, just
Hmm.
from far, far away, coming in, entering the body, front, back, sides,
Yeah.
return to wholeness. Return to wholeness.
Well, I think that's what we're all seeking. And the challenge is that return to wholeness may seem so different and may require, we require us to give up X, Y, or Z. All right. And gosh, what would our life be like if we gave up X, Y, or Z? Okay. And there's sort of a fear of taking some of these steps, of delving into some of these things that you're describing, because we'll lose our identity or we'll stop doing X, Y, or Z, but that's our hobby. Whatever it is. So there's a fear about stepping into a deeper wholeness, if I may say that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know whether you encounter that fear regularly or not with your clients. I mean, they come to you saying, "Oh my God, please help me," and you say, "Okay, here's how," and it's like, "Well, that's not what I had in mind."
That's not what I had in mind. Yep.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. I have had somebody say, please don't make me give this up. I will not give this up. And I say, that's your choice. That's your choice.
But you sure have an awful lot of energy wrapped up in what that thing is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you're choosing to
Mm-hmm.
hang on for dear life, as it were.
Mm-hmm. And I think that when you have the physical experience, that kind of heart and emotion experience of your divine nature, that's growing and moving, within your intention that I choose to be whole.
Mm-hmm.
I choose to be fulfilled. Even if I cannot articulate what that means, I'm choosing that. And as that continues to grow, there is such a nourishing. A lot of things simply fall away. Some things fall away because this is so delicious. This is so nurturing and restorative and actually fulfilling.
The I have experienced two or three things fairly recently that used to be great passions of mine that I've sort of, given up and who cares and whatever. But what has come to me is the emotional attachment that one has around it is different from just the knowing about it.
Yes.
So you can be curious about it
Mm,
without feeling that it's something you either have to do, have to know, um, have to,
mm,
it has to unfold in a given way. It's just like, okay, well, so what's out there? And
mhm.
one of those things is all the things I have done throughout my life on the quote athletic front. Okay, where I've done this and done that, and I've ridden my bike and I've done, so therefore I'm obsessed with the Tour de France and how all those professional riders go, et cetera. And now it's like, okay, it's, it's they're doing what they do, and there's nothing about that that has to affect my life. Okay, I can choose to get on my bike and ride my bike up and down the roads here or not.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And you can enjoy the race and
And
not
I,
have to
oh,
be
and
in the
and
race.
yes, I can enjoy the race as a matter of, okay, I wonder who's going to win,
Yes.
rather than or how these particular people are going to go, rather than, oh my gosh, it has to be this person or that person.
Yeah.
Okay. And that emotional detachment from that and so many other things in my life is so liberating. Okay, because it's all a matter of it's there to experience if you choose, but nobody's going to die if you don't. Okay,
Exactly.
and so to me spiritual growth has been, maybe it's something like these fireflies. It's getting rid of the attachments to so many things that we think we need to do to be whole. And the wholeness just comes by allowing itself to emerge, so to speak.
Yeah. It's
Okay?
it yes. Yes, it's the real beingness. It's the beingness.
Yeah.
So the purpose and the doingness modifies or falls away. Or you're nudged. Now, pick up the phone, call this person, offer assistance. You know,
Hmm.
it's very spontaneous, it's very fluid. I didn't plan to call this person. It was a perfect match.
Yeah.
And the
Okay.
great pressure of doing and deadlines and goal setting, it shifts.
It
It
surely
shifts.
does. It surely does. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know in my own experience, I've given up what has been decades of soul identification. I mean, of lifetime identification of who's Bill Spady. Okay. He's this educational transformation guy that does this and this and this. And he's known all over the world and all this kind of stuff. And I have just let that go.
Mhm.
Okay. I mean, it's like, you know, I tried for 5 decades, and it turns out that the institutional grip, okay, that has on literally everybody in every country is so intense that I'm not going to dismantle that. I'm not going to dissolve it, as it were, transform it. Okay, they get to choose. They get to choose what kind of education system, okay,
Yes.
and its feature and all this kind of stuff that they want to have, because the resistance that is there in bringing about the change is so enormous, just so enormous. And I'm tired, just absolutely tired of what? Dealing with, encountering. Then I could use the verb fighting with or struggling against the resistance. And the resistance wins. I mean, it absolutely wins.
It does. It does. I think that I think you're again talking about, 5 or 10 years ago. I think in 5 years we'll be in a very different place. Um, and I think that these structures that you and I have fought against and, run up and fell down and ran up and fell down, I think that those are decaying, dissolving,
Mhm.
and that the more that we fight with it, resist it, we kind of strengthen it. If we stand over here, we hold a space of gratitude, we hold a space of peace and love. We affect people by walking past them or by an exchange on the walk down the path. That also creates change.
Mhm. Well, I am uh, I am grateful to you for the variety of gifts you have brought to me and to others. Okay, because it is that versatility of approaches, processes, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, I remember as I was thinking about, okay, what will we talk about here? The incredible guided meditation work that you did with us as groups, okay? And knowing sort of what kinds of symbols and energies to draw out and draw into, et cetera. And that was just one aspect of the many, many tools, as it were, and gifts that you brought to me, and I saw you bringing to other people as well. Now you
Yeah.
said you've got tools in the toolbox. I don't know if you meant tangible tools like the singing bowls, or whether you were talking about just the versatility of the approaches that you've used.
Well, in some ways, both. But right now, I am finding that the singing bowls, the sound healing, essential oils, flower essences are working much better than some of those more computerized technologies that I had purchased at once upon a time.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But the essential oils continue to evolve with us. They continue to evolve. They continue to be helpful. The sound healing continues to be so helpful. I mean, there's so many examples of sound healing where someone is looking at their issue and they're aware that it's karmic and they're aware that it's painful and they're aware that it's entangled and have no idea what to do with it. And by ringing the bowl again in that sacred, wide, sacred space, ringing the bowl, and they can see part of it dissolving, they can feel it lessening its
Yes.
grip, and they also receive the insight of the next step to do with this. And
It,
sound healing is that potent in that.
mm,
It's that potent. I think one of my great gifts is that I understand that everything now is customized. The person standing before me has this unique combination of things that are kind of the collection of everything that they've come up to, that's left from everything before, because most of the people have done quite a bit. This is what's left in the bottom of the barrel.
okay.
And in that, I can hold a sacred space that is planetary, universal, cosmic. I can connect them to source in the way that is right for them, not my way,
Mm-hmm.
their way. And in that, their answers come, their empowerment, their resolution.
Are you saying, I think this is really important for our audience to hear, okay? Are you saying that your work is most effective, okay, when you are working with people who've already been on the path of inner growth and who have opened up, etc., as distinct from people who are absolutely new to this work?
No, I don't think I'm saying that. I'm saying
Okay.
sometimes someone who's done a lot of work, what they present to me is the little hard chunks in the bottom that they haven't dealt with yet, that
Yes.
they haven't found a solution for. What I'm finding with new people now is they drop about 80% in a session. You know,
Mm,
they walk in completely lost, confused, stuck, and they drop about 80%, and then they can see what's left. And they go, oh, I can deal with that. Because especially now, it's a it's a karmic thing that's not yet resolved. It's an ancestral thing that's not yet, or two or three or four that's not yet resolved. And they're all around the same topic that the person is concerned about. Relationships with here, financial concerns, self-esteem issues. It's in all of these multidimensional layers at the same time, and they're at a loss as to what to do. With connection, connecting them to source, looking at this situation and saying, first, my favorite question has become, is this yours?
mm,
I
yeah.
I am having these belief systems about this and this. I'm having these strong panic attacks. I'm having this anger. I'm having this. Is it even yours? If we take out 40% of the anger, oh, I can deal with that.
Mm.
The first question is this yours?
Well, let's just pretend here for our concluding moments that most people want to know what's going on right now. Okay. and that the is this yours? I'm going to interpret this now. Is this yours that you have acquired in this lifetime from your upbringing and from that, or is this yours from past experiences, past life experiences that you haven't got a clue about? Okay. Because I think people can relate more to the immediacy of, oh God, this happened when I was younger, and there's this and that, etc., rather than what? Well, what did my soul do back then, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So in your case, your focus, I'm going to say primarily, is in helping people. Their real strength is in going to those things that are unknown, undiscovered, and bringing them up and bringing them to light.
Unconscious made conscious.
Yes. Yeah.
Didn't know what that was. It was all in a little fuzzy ball over there. Put light on it, had it join the party.
Yeah.
Yeah. One other way to look at it now, in the new energy of now, is this mine? Is this my divine plan?
Mm-hmm.
Does this pull me into greater connection, greater flow? What is my divine plan? Is my divine nature expressed here? And
Mm-hmm.
generally in anger and betrayal and hurt, the divine nature has been put aside.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And so lay the divine plan over this. See what you need to see. Proceed.
Boy, what an opportunity. Okay. What an opportunity to bring clarity, to bring peace, to bring a sense of joy, relief, happiness, etc., to one's life when you can discover, okay, what
Exactly.
these things are and say, don't need to. Don't let it go, let it go. That was then, and this is now. Wow.
Yes.
Well, Selene, thank you for what has been an incredibly stimulating conversation here. I want to have more of them. I'm sure that there are people in our audience who will want to get to know you and find you. Um, how do they do that other than going outside and looking for the guys who are repairing the streets? Because you may not have the only streets being repaired.
Hopefully the street will be easy to travel very soon.
Travel, there we go.
Yes, I have a website, Selene Healing Arts, and
So
that's a good way to connect with me.
let's spell the name Selene
SeleneHealingArts.com.
.com. And
Yeah,
that's the way in, and things go from there.
things go from there. Thank
And
you.
for the lucky people who are in the Denver-ish area, they can come visit and go down that newly paved street. And others, I can assure you, there are incredible things that can happen on the phone via long distance or even via Zoom in this case, et cetera, et cetera.
Exactly. And
Yeah,
I actually find that in many cases, a phone call is deeper. In many cases, a phone call is deeper if you're doing like an hour long or, a shorter session. If you're doing an afternoon, then it's good to be in person.
sure. Okay.
Yes.
Well,
Phone
I will
calls.
I
Very.
will simply close with where we began. That first encounter we had was on the phone, and the depth of it and the impact of it and God, the profundity of it was just absolutely remarkable. And that can happen on the phone. Okay. And I will just share in that conversation. I said, well, how do we do? Can we do this on the phone? What? Can we do this on the phone? And you said, oh yeah. And I said, well, what
And
do
here
I
we go.
what no, well, what do I do? What do I do? She said, nothing. Just if when you start to feel something, okay, hit the off button. Okay. And in 2 seconds, I was like this, and I almost couldn't find the off button. Okay. So the phone, the phone works. Okay.
The
And I
phone
can
works.
and I can assure you face to face works as well. Thank you so much. This has been an absolute delight to reconnect again in this way. And we'll have other conversations so that people get to know you and the work better and maybe from a different angle. Um, so I'm eager to follow up. Audience, I think we've been introduced to somebody who is truly gifted as a spiritual healer and guide for us, a spirit partner of true authenticity to me. Thank you for joining us. And check out all the other different offerings we have on Spirit Partners. So thank you very much. Bye bye.